Okay, so this is part 6. It's called Things Borrowed or Synchronicity, and it's referring to I Love You with the Love of Christ. And also, well, for that one specifically, I feel like that was taken without um, proper acknowledgement. And the second one is Married to Christ. Single and satisfied, married to Christ. And I say this because I know that the different pastors, they get together, they talk, they have their powwows, they share, they visit each other's churches and all of that kind of thing. So recently I went to a church that, not recently, but a few months back, I went to a church that I haven't been to in a really long time. And as I walked in, and there's a whole story behind this too, and it all relates to this, and I'm glad I remembered it. As I walked in and, everybody was chatting it up, I kind of came really late. The pastor said, and I saw a lady, a young girl on the other end, and he's now doing the outreach to the colleges. And I saw, I saw the look in her eye, and I was thinking to myself, I know exactly what she's thinking. She's thinking to herself, it's just going into one ear and out of the other. I'll just leave it that way. So I'm watching her, and I'm experiencing what she's experiencing because I've been there. I understand the thought process. And so the pastor says, um, he's married to Christ. And I was just like, did he steal my line? Did he get together with the current pastor that I was at, and did they somehow share that information? Was this mentioned? And again, I'm not accredited for the brilliance that I put forth, right? So I didn't say anything. I stayed a little bit longer, and then I left, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that something that's a popular saying? And I haven't been back to that church to ask, but next time I go, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to say, yo, I was here the last time, and I noticed that you said this. Did you get that from another pastor? And if so, what pastor did you get that from? But anyways, moving on from there, going back to the Saturday before last. So again, the person left me with the gift, which what I said was like, wow, what a gift. It was a sacramental prayer, and in my opinion, prayer equals agape love. And I let them know that it was appreciated, that I was going to take it with me throughout the day. It's one of the best gifts that I've received. It's going to be transferred through every molecule, every atom, and it's going to walk with me, just like walk with Kanye had the walk with God, or Jesus walks with me, or something like that. It was going to be that type of thing for me, and it did. It brightened my whole day. And the thing about it, you know how the Bible says, where two or more are called in my name. So all it takes is for one other person to bless you or wish you well, really for you to just have a fantabulous day, because somebody else was in agreement that you deserve it, right? So that's kind of how it was. And so I was getting myself together. I was happy, joyous in my spirit, my heart, my mind, my soul. Every ounce of me was vibrating with the glow of goodness. So as I was leaving, I recognized, and again, marginalization, so I don't have no, but as I'm walking, I recognize like there's a scooter or something pulling up beside me, and I'm like, because I was thinking to myself, and this is a flashback, one day I happened to be taking a little respite, taking a break at a nature's place, and there was a girl and this guy, and they were arguing and fussing, and I could hear them before I could see them. And for somebody that doesn't understand the situation, it would seem quite comedic, or if it was on film, but it wasn't. It was really distressing, because again, woven from the womb, I have a heart for my sisters. The girl was walking with a bag that's as big as, and I'll show y'all a picture of my hiking backpack, as big as my bag, and the girl is not that big. She's smaller than me, probably to my shoulder. So the bag is as big as she is, and she's carrying it over her shoulder like a laundry bag. There's a guy following behind her on this red scooter, and like I said, if you're on the outside looking in and you don't understand the situation, it can seem pretty funny, but it's not funny because I understand the situation. And she was like, I'm tired of doing everything, whatever, and he's following her behind her scooter, and she's like, you daggone right, I'm gonna defend myself and such and such and such. And all she's focused on, she's entertaining this conversation with this dude, because obviously they know each other, but she really don't care whether he stay there or he go. She's just trying to get to the laundromat and do her laundry. And the internal dialogue that I had with myself was, I'm mad, because I'm like, why is he riding beside her and she got all this stuff on this scooter? Boy, go get lost somewhere, But, I'm like, okay, that's their dynamic, let it flow. And it was funny because the conversation that you're hearing, they're arguing, but I'm mad because this girl is about the size of the bag, and he's just bothering her. He's acting like a gnat. And I feel like this, so to the brothers out there, if you're dealing with a female, whether you know them well or not, if you're not helping them, you bothering them. Get out their way. Get out their way. You're like a gnat. It's annoying. It's hot. It's irritating, and you're just buzzing around. Go. Leave them alone. Give them their space. And if they want to interact with you, they'll reach out to you, or give them some time to get some air to breathe. Don't be right up on them like that. That's annoying. And if somebody else wanted to help her, they couldn't, because you riding up on her with a scooter. So it was funny to me, but it wasn't, because I understood the situation. And the bad thing about it is, an hour or two later, here she come back with this bag, and this dude is still behind her with the scooter. Leave her alone. Let her be. Leave her alone. You know what I'm saying? Leave her alone. And it just it does something under my skin. Like this one lady was saying how her, puckers when something really get on her nerves. For me, it's a different thing when it's like I get this tingly, but it's not a tingly situation. It's all inside of me where it's just annoying, and I'm like, man. But I don't even know where I got to that story. But with that being okay, because the guy with the scooter. And so there's a couple of people that I know, not really know well, but I may go to church and I may understand that this individual has a scooter, or whatever. I'm walking on the street, I'm not paying it any attention. But then when I think about it, like I said, this one eased up beside me, and I try not to look, because if you look and make eye contact, then what it means, for some reason, people associate marginalized women with backpacks as for sale, and this ain't that. And so I want to make sure that if I respond back negatively and very loudly, that there was no misunderstanding that, hey, you are intruding on my space. So, as I'm walking, I'm noticing the scooter, because you could tell by the way they sound, it's kind of pulling up beside me, just slowing the pace. But again, you could feel people's energy, and the energy wasn't bad energy. It was just I did not want to interact in any way that would in any way portray that we're not having this conversation. So I'm continuing, and then I start to get annoyed, because I notice that the scooter pulls up into, and this is typical stalker behavior, they'll pull up into like a place where you have to walk across. Like if there's a driveway or a parking lot, they'll go to the next one if you're not paying attention, and they'll sit there and wait for you to have to cross in front of them so they can say something to you discreetly, and you're just trying to cross over the path. But to anybody watching, it looks like you're engaging in some type of conversation, which you're not. And so I'm getting annoyed, but luckily the person got off of the scooter and took off their helmet, so that at least that they were identifiable. But I'm like, okay. So in the back of my mind, flashback 20, 30 years, when you're young, and those are the things you do, hey, you don't know people, but you're like, yeah, we're going to go to South Beach, and you go and get all your clothes, you call your girlfriends or whatever they call their dude friends, and y'all don't even know each other, but it's 20 of y'all now riding to South Beach. So the thought in my head, it just gave me those type of flashback memories, and I was like, we're not doing that. You're too old, for one, and then for two, that's crazy. You're going to be sold somewhere on the street. So no, the answer is no. And plus you have all this baggage, we're not doing that today. We're not, And so then as I get closer, and the person sees that I'm obviously still going to ignore them and keep walking, they start walking towards me. I'm like, nope, nope. And so then I notice it's the same individual. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, oh, it's you, because it kind of broke me down, because I was scared, because I was like, okay, defense is up. But he's okay. So he has this very respectful, has this manila envelope, bubble package and everything. And the first thing he says to me is, do you have a Bible? And I'm thinking, I don't know how to process this, because I hate to tell the brother, this, because I'll go into the whole story about, there's no need in me having a Bible, because it's going to keep getting wet, because the rain, the whatever. But he saw me pause, and he knew that it was going to be a long story. So he was just like, look, in this package I have a Bible, I have XXX, XYZ, and then I also have a letter. And I was like, a letter? And that's what got me, because, that takes me back to growing up. We used to do mixtapes and write letters. And I was like, I've been looking for a pen pal. I didn't say this, but in my mind and in my heart, because I didn't have a lot of energy for words, because I had things to do. But in my mind and my heart, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I've been looking for a pen pal for 30 years. But I didn't, go into all that. So that was what made me accept the envelope. And I didn't want to read the letter. I wanted to first, I write my newsletters and things like that. I wanted to write my feelings about all this and put it out before I read the letter, because if the letter inevitably is going to be something that tease me off, I want to at least have the good feeling of whatever imagination that I had before I actually read it and I got peeved. Anyways, the next part is coming.